Welcome back. The Senzo Meyiwa murder trial resumes today. 5 men are accused of killing the former Bafana captain in 2014. Now, when the trial began earlier this week, the first witness was questioned about the handling of the crime scene and whether the right processes were followed. Witness Thabo Mosia was the first forensic detective on the scene of that crime. Our reporter Slindelo Masikane continues to monitor proceedings today. A very good morning to you, Sli. Now, just before we get on to what is set to happen today, what were some of the most critical bits of information that came out of yesterday's testimony?
Well, you would remember that we had the beginning of cross-examination of forensic investigator Thabo Mosia on Tuesday, and Advocate Malisa Latifo really going to a lot of minute details in terms of how long it took for forensics to be called, when Mosia got to the scene, what he found when he got to the scene, and exactly how he collected the evidence at the crime scene. Now, the defense is really trying to poke holes, of course, in the state's case and the evidence before the 5 accused, really bringing into question as to whether there could have been any tampering with the crime scene before forensics could get there. Now, Mosia has already testified to the fact that he found a hat, he found some fragmented bullets, he found cans of alcohol as well as a walking stick at the crime scene, and as well as taking DNA swabs in and around the house and the kitchen where Senzo Meyiwa was killed. But the defense then on Tuesday raised questions around the fact that it took 4 hours for forensics to be called, and also saying that the DNA found on the hat on the crime scene belongs to a woman, but the state is alleging that the hat came in with the intruder who is alleged to be accused number 3. I'm going to ask my colleague Tamsanga Kamane to give you a picture. We are inside court. Of course, we're expecting proceedings to start at around 9:30 this morning. The accused are already seated in the dock, and accused number 3 is the man you see seated wearing a white shirt and a mask over his head, one of those that go over your mouth as well as your face, and that is Mtobi Simncube. He's alleged to have been the intruder that entered the house wearing a hat and armed with a 9mm parabellum gun. Now, what the defense then raised on Tuesday was the fact that there were no cartridges found at the crime scene, and they put it to Mosia that, is it possible that the gun that was actually used could have been a revolver? Because if you used a revolver, then you wouldn't have found any cartridges on the scene. And Mosia then conceded to that, saying that yes, it is possible. Now, if the state then is alleging that a 9mm gun was used, then it brings into question what type of gun was actually used to kill Senzo Meyiwa, and whether the evidence has been gathered sufficiently. But what was also raised was the fact that, what was also revealed rather, Raphael, was the fact that the photo album with the evidence that was taken at the crime scene at some point was booked out of the office, and Mosia says he doesn't know why that particular photo album in relation to the Meyiwa docket was booked out. So at this point, we're expecting Sergeant Mosia back in the witness box for the continuation of cross-examination. And in fact, State Prosecutor Advocate George Baloyi has just walked in. The defense lawyers are all here, and at any moment now we are expecting the judge to take his seat and for the trial to continue.
And before I let you go, Slee, because I know they're very strict about time in court and we don't want you to get into any kind of trouble, what are you saying will be the focus for today?
So the focus will be that continuation of the cross-examination, where we're going to have the defense continuing to pose questions to Sergeant Thabo Mosia. If Tammy can also just give you a pan towards the gallery, you'd also see that the Meyiwa sisters are actually here in court as well. You would know that they've traveled from KwaZulu-Natal to be able to attend this court case. We have Zama and Nomalanga Meyiwa who are here in court today, but that's that's what we are expecting, Rufio, is that the defense will continue to try and criticize, essentially, the evidence before the 5 accused, because at this point they do continue to maintain their innocence. They've pled not guilty to the 5 charges before them, and the accused continue to say that they were never at the crime scene. So this is where we are at this stage, and as you can see, a very heavy police presence inside the courtroom.
Yeah, absolutely. Slindelo Masikane, thank you very much. Following the trial against those who have been accused of killing Senzo Meyiwa. We'll be catching up with her as those proceedings continue.